Week 1's pretty much in the books. What's going on, everyone? I'm Dustin. Welcome to Fantasy Smack Talk. Before we get into must-adds in all leagues, one quick thing to remind you all of, our fantasy games are up on the site. It's weekly salary cap league. Click on fantasy games, sign in, or create an account. Under the check out the action tab right after you sign in, you'll see us, third one over from the left. Join it, chance to win an FS t-shirt. Alright, let's plow through some of these must-adds and I'll talk about some of them more in depth. First guy, CJ Spiller. If he's available in your league, no brainer. Fred Jackson out for a little while. Spiller, amazing week 1. We all knew this guy was talented. No brainer pickup. Same with Alfred Morris, only on 30% of leagues. Rookie running back for the Redskins. He's the guy for now. We'll see how long it lasts, but for now, he needs to be owned in all leagues. Another guy that's definitely worthy of a pickup is Randall Cobb for the Packers, only on 50% of leagues. We talked about him last week as a guy that was really good to look at for leagues that count return yards, but now it looks like he's a must-add in all leagues at this point. I got the #1 waiver, a couple leagues. I'm contemplating picking him up. I think I'm going to do it, and here's why, and this is what I think you should do with Cobb depending on what your team is like and if you have the #1 waiver. I have a lot of running back depth in those leagues. I could use a decent receiver. They're PPR leagues. So I think if you have good running back depth, you need a receiver, go ahead and go for it. But if you need that #1 waiver, hoping to get a starting running back once a running back gets hurt, kind of like a CJ Spiller type guy, hold on to the #1 waiver, wait for that running back to come around. But if you needed any help at wide receiver, Cobb, I think, is a real deal, and he could have value for the rest of the year. Kevin Ogletree is next, only on 45% of leagues. Obviously a hot pickup. Everyone saw what he did Wednesday night with the opening game with the Cowboys. I think he could be a kind of a Laurent Robinson type player from last year. He might not be completely consistent if everyone is healthy out there, but he's definitely got a big upside. We saw what he did. I wouldn't use a great waiver number on him, but I think he needs to be owned in all leagues. Moving on, Jacquez Rodgers, only on 55% of leagues. Looks like Atlanta's really moving more towards a passing offense. Michael Turner's older, slower. He doesn't really fit the offense anymore. Look for Rodgers to continue to get more involved with that offense. And I think Rodgers, even if Turner is healthy, could be kind of a Darren Sproles type player. I think they'll really get him involved in the passing game. I think Rodgers is a must-own. If Turner does go down, they have put confidence in Rodgers as being a guy that can handle the load. So for that reason, I think he needs to be owned in all leagues. One other guy to must add in all leagues is Dexter McCluster. He's really talented receiver / running back, which is another thing I like about him. He does have dual position eligibility, which you don't get to talk about much in fantasy football, but it's not a huge advantage, but it does give your team more flexibility, especially during the bye weeks. And the Chiefs are committed to getting the ball in this guy's hands. I think he's definitely going to have a ton of value in PPR leagues. Again, kind of like a Darren Sproles type player. It seems like a lot of leagues are kind of going with that kind of speedster guy that can just get the ball in his hands, see what he can do. That's definitely McCluster for the Chiefs. All right, let's move into guys that add in deeper leagues. First one, LaShore, only on 40% of leagues. We talked about him last week. He does have that 2-game suspension. 1 game's out of the way. Kevin Smith did look great, and we know Kevin Smith's going to play well if he's healthy, but I really don't think he's going to stay healthy. Look for LaShore to take over once Smith gets banged up in a couple of weeks. Moving on, we got the St. Louis handcuff situation. The Rams drafted 2 rookie running backs. They drafted Pete and they drafted Richardson. They drafted Pete first. It really looked like Pete was going to be the handcuff for Steven Jackson. But Richardson had 2 carries, Pete had 0, and Richardson had 2 carries for 20 yards. So definitely impressive with limited action. Steven Jackson didn't look that good. I think this is the year he finally breaks down. So for that reason, the handcuff for Jackson is valuable, which makes Richardson a high upside stash on your bench. One pickup and play defensive for you, and that's the Bengals, only on 25% of leagues. It's not that I'm that high on their defense. It's just that I'm that low on Cleveland's offense. They look terrible week 1. I think the Bengals will be able to get some pressure on the rookie quarterback, probably rack up some sacks, maybe even get a touchdown. I think they're a good play for the Battle of Ohio with that game next week. Moving on, Stephen Hill, rookie receiver for the Jets. They drafted this guy in the 2nd round. They obviously like him. He's a starter. 2 touchdowns for him week 1. I obviously don't see that pace keeping up, and I don't see Sanchez playing as well as he did week 1, consistently throughout the year. But Hill, big upside. They don't have a ton of targets out there for Sanchez and maybe Tebow to throw to. But Hill, definitely worth a look in deeper leagues. Next guy is individual defensive player, and that's Woodyard for Denver. DJ Williams is suspended, and he got in trouble again. They're saying he might be suspended for 10 games. So Woodyard, a great short-term, potentially long-term solution. 12 tackles week 1 and a sack. If you're looking for an IDP guy, he's someone you're going to want to look at. A couple guys to add to your watch list, maybe add in deep leagues. Kyle Rudolph, we liked him coming into the year as one of our favorite sleeper tight ends. Solid week 1. I think there's still a chance he cracks the top 10 this year in tight ends. If you're not happy with your tight end or looking for a little depth at tight end, maybe in a couple weeks, Kyle Rudolph could be your guy. And one other guy to keep a close eye on is Andrew Hawkins, the Bengals receiver. AJ Green's out there, obviously. He has a huge upside, but whoever emerges as the number 2 target for the Bengals could have a decent amount of value. Hawkins is crazy fast, only on about 5% of leagues right now. I think he's definitely going to have more value in PPR leagues, but even in standard leagues, might be worth a look, but keep an eye on him. So that is it for the Week 2 waiver wire. Again, this is just a portion of the list. To see the full list, get onto the website, sign up for those games, and Brent and I will see you later this week.